United States. No one should fear violence because of who they are, because of how they look, or because of where they come from. As Americans, we are united by our values of freedom and equality. Yet Asian Americans cannot live freely because they are under threat from bigotry and from discrimination. Too often, they are not being treated equally because of how they look. We are united today and every day in our outrage at the rise in hate crimes against Asian Americans in our community. Orange County is proud to be home to the third largest Asian American population in the United States. We are proud. We know that diversity helps make this a great place to live. Asian Americans are our community leaders. They're our friends, our small business owners, our doctors, and our neighbors. In the last year, hate crimes targeting Asian people have risen by nearly 150% in major U.S. cities. Orange County, 1,200%. We need to step up and fulfill the American promise of freedom and equality for the Asian American community. As your ally in Congress and as your neighbor in this community, I am fighting to protect our vibrant AAPI community. Together with my allies of the Asian Pacific American Caucus, we led the effort, calling out xenophobia stemming from the coronavirus pandemic, and in too many cases, from our former president. We condemned the use of racist language that fomented hate. We've seen Asian American violence right here in Orange County. Asian American homeowners have been abused with racist slurs and had rocks thrown at their houses. That's why I'm leading efforts to expand how we report, track, and prosecute these heinous crimes. Last month, I worked with a Republican on a bill to condemn anti-Asian racism and call on law enforcement to work together to hold criminals accountable. I've also worked with colleagues on a bill that not only condemns these hate crimes, but also supports additional investigation and documentation. But of course, hate crimes against Asian Americans didn't start with this pandemic. 22 years ago, in 1999, a man named Joseph Alito was killed by a white supremacist during the North Valley Jewish Community Center shootings here in Southern California. Joseph was a Filipino-American postal worker who we lost forever because of a heinous, racist person who committed a heinous, racist crime. We are joined today by some of the surviving members of his family who have, throughout these years, raised awareness about the violent mistreatment of Asian Americans. Ismail and Dina, we admire your bravery and strength, and we join you as allies in this fight. To date, over 50,000 Californians have died from the coronavirus. With the arrival of the vaccine, our community is just starting to heal from this pandemic. But we will not heal if racism and hatred continue to exist in our community. There is hope. Together we can fight back. We can say that this community has a place for all of us, regardless of where you come from, the language that you speak, the color of your skin. Here in Orange County, neighbors stepped in to help out an Asian American family that was targeted repeatedly by teenagers shouting racist slurs and hurling rocks at their house. Those neighbors now stand guard outside the family's home each night. That is the power of solidarity. That is the power that we have as a community when we come together and when we stand up for what is right. Together, we can build a future that lives up to our American ideals of freedom and equality. I am so thrilled to see such a great crowd at today's rally, together with community partners, advocacy organizations, state and local leaders. Today we find strength not only in diversity, but in numbers. There's an obligation on every member of our community, not just on API members, but every member of our community, to stand in solidarity with our API community. So to each one of you, thank you for being here. Thank you for standing together as we denounce racism, combat disinformation, and pursue justice. We are here today to celebrate our vibrant community, not only for Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, but for every single Orange County family. In solidarity, we will defeat hate. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Because of our Asian community. And even within our Asian community, the diversity of that community is what makes us so interesting, creative, strong, with families who care so much about the quality of life here. This city does everything that it can to make sure that our residents are protected, that they feel that they are a part of the fabric here, and that their voices are heard. But we can always do more. And so I'm so glad that you are here today to speak up against violence. We have no tolerance for violence here in Irvine against any of our community members. So we must stop violence and stand together, and I will always stand with you, our Asian community, our diverse community, against hate and violence. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you, Jerry, and all the organizers. You're terrific.
I see the taco. What's the best thing to order over here?
Okay, the first thing is, I don't know if you're familiar with the bulgogi taco.
Yes.
But I actually use the prime rib meat.
Whoa.
And then marinate with bulgogi sauce, the Korean famous for. And the combination really works. And I think it's something that you never tasted before. That's like our #1 sell. And also, everybody knows about tripas, but I marinate it in Korean style.
Beautiful.
And also pastor, that the Latin Americans are famous for, I marinate in Korean style also. So it's the same. I kept the original of the Latin flavors, but the meat itself, it is Korean. So it's like a really good fusion that worked out together.
It's very SoCal.
Yeah, it is. And I believe there's some other Korean places, but they were saying it didn't feel right. But when I open up the street vending, I'm getting a really good review. So I think I did the right job.
Beautiful.